Hello everyone, happy Wednesday. Hope you've had a good week and you enjoyed that amazing interview with Karrie Ellis on Saturday. If you haven't seen it yet, go down and watch that interview. She was so lovely. I also had the opportunity last week to speak to Peter Karrie, a West End legend, has played so many amazing roles. We caught up last week. Have a watch.
Brilliant.
Let's do it.
Okay, so the first question that I've got is, where did your love of music and performing come from?
Don't know. Next one. No, I don't know. I was brought up on a farm when I was young. My nan had a farm, which I've written a book about. I was absolutely rubbish on the farm. So nan, my brother was very, very good, and he was very, very good. And we all had our chores to do. And so nan kind of got round my problem by giving me a wheelbarrow and a brush and a shovel, and I had to empty the cow shed every morning and get it ready for the cows. And this cow shed goes back to about the 16th century. It's really old.
Wow.
And it echoed, and so I'd sing to the cows. So my first order was a bunch of cows, and it was great. And that's where I started singing, was in the cow shed.
Wow. I don't think that's I don't think that's the answer everybody thinks they'll get.
I know. I just said the truth. And the cows liked it. Nan reckoned the milk yield went up a little bit, so that was kind of good. And,
you were useful in part. You were.
Yeah. I used to amuse the cows. Yeah.
Brilliant. My next question is, how did your career start and where did it all begin for you?
Oh God. Well, hey, yeah, it ended up because of the cow thing. I knew I could sing a bit. We moved to Barry after a while when I was about 9, 10 years of age, and I ended up singing, representing Barry Junior School in Europe and singing songs. And I didn't know what it was all about, but I did it. And then I got asked to join this church choir, which was a high church. And I had the job of swinging the incest. They used to dress you in all the ruffles and the neck. And then I'd stand in the front, walking in front of the procession as we went round the church, swinging this damn incense, which used to get up my nose, and it was terrible, but I liked it. So, but then the Beatles came along. The Beatles rejuvenated my life. They gave it a purpose. And so I started singing pop songs, and I found I could do that okay. And I joined a band, in the South Wales area, you get vocalist wanted, whatever, in the music page. And this group wanted a singer, so I went and joined the Midnight Marauders. And that was good. But then another group came along and said, listen, you live near to where we live, which was Cowbridge. Would you join us? And we'd call the group after you. I said, what, after me? They said, yeah, we'll call it Peter and the Wolves. And that group, then I was with that group for about 4 years. And we went all over the place. And we opened for big name acts and everything. And that was my first kind of forage into the world of pop. Then I was 18, I ran away to London with my best mate. That was good. But it didn't last long, unfortunately. Money ran out, and I wasn't a very good barman. So then I came home. It started slow, but I had the taste for it by then.
Yeah.
And so then it kind of fired everything up, because I then knew I wanted to be a singer, and that's what happened eventually. I struck rough times and all that, trying to get a break up there. This is uh, and I ended up meeting Steve Bonzo, and Steve was lovely, and so I used to stand near the Marble Arch in the Underground, and I had a guitar, but I couldn't play it, and it only had 4 strings, which was a problem. So I used to use it as a rhythm. So I'd rattle and I'd sing along, "Can't buy me love," and I'd just be banging and they'd put money in my hat. So it was good. And a guy came along and he put a card in there, and it was an agency card. And so I ended up joining an agency, which was good. It was a lady that ran it, and I ended up getting an audition for my first musical.
Wow.
I'd never been in a musical. I didn't know anything about musical theatre. And so I went along there for the audition. It was a kind of open audition. And they said, "Oh, okay, what you going to sing?" And I said, "Help Me Make It Through the Night," because that was one of the hit songs at the time. That's how old it was, long ago. And so I sang that, and they said, "Yeah, you got the job. Good." And I was on £110 a week, which was really good. And because of that sudden input of wealth, I got a little bed sitter, which was about the size of this table, really. It was about 4 foot wide and about 10 foot long, but it was still, and it had a sink, and it had a single bed, and that was it. And I went in there. I didn't have a telly or anything, but so I learned the script, and it was good that I learned the script. The first cover hadn't learned the part, because by all accounts you don't learn the part until they call you in for rehearsals. And so then they were desperate, and they said, "Do you know the part to me?" And I said, "Well, I know all because I had nothing to do in my little bedsit." So they said, "Well, do you know the dialogue?" I said, "Okay." "Have you got a suit?" "No." "Okay." You have to have a white suit for this part. It was really good. It was called Fire Angel, the show was, and it was based on a Shakespearean character, Shylock, and all that. And they said, "Okay, well, we'll push you around where you've got to be, and when it comes to dialogue, somebody will hold a tray up, and on the bottom of the tray will be the words you've got to say." It's true. It's true. So I did this for the whole show, and it went really well, considering. And there was a guy sitting in the audience called Stephen Bentinck. This is like fate. You don't write stuff like this. He was producing James Dean, a musical. He'd found a guy that was James Dean, spitting image guy. Absolutely, when he stood with the rifle across his shoulders like that, you'd have thought it was James Dean. He couldn't sing a note, tongue deaf. And he was a hod carrier. He worked on a building site.
Oh my gosh.
You can't write this down, I tell you. So he said, "Listen, Dad, I want you to come in and play this role of the stage manager," right? Because James Dean only did 4 films, and they're all on a film set. So you're the stage manager of this film set. And you're going to start it off with a speech, the whole show off. I've never done musical theatre in my life, right? So you can imagine how nervous I was, I might say. So anyway, I had to learn this big speech, walk across the set, climb kind of spiral staircase. Halfway up the proscenium arch, there was a table set on a little kind of dais with a light above it. And that's what I said. And whenever James Dean needed to sing a song, for some obscure reason, I got up and sang it. Can you believe that? It's true. So I did that. But in that time, a guy called Bob Swash came in. Now, Bob Swash was the producer, co-producer of Music Christ Superstar. And he was also the co-producer of a new musical they were putting on called Evita. So he came on stage and said, "Listen, I'd love you to audition for the part of McGolden. On this night of 1,000 stars." That song, right?
Yeah.
I thought, "Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay." So I went and auditioned for it, and I got the role. We're not for another 6 months. I said, oh. He said, yeah. He said, there's a bit of a problem going on. And what it was, so I found it afterwards, that Anne Margaret is the one that the production company wanted to give the role of Eva Peron to. But Tim wanted Elaine Page to do it, who was just an unknown person, and they need a star. And but Tim got his way, so Elaine got the. So then they brought in David Essex, because he was a famous person, to carry a little bit of the profile of the show. But then he turned around and said, listen, so this is after I did 7 auditions for Che Guevara. And he said, listen, we don't want to lose you. We'd like you to. I said, oh, okay. He said, understudy Judas and take over Judas. And so I did for the next. So that was how I got into musical theatre. I felt an old hand by the time I finished in Superstar, which is in 1980.
Wow. My gosh.
I went off with. I know, terrible, isn't it? I told Arano when I did 2 tours of Evita, and then I got by accident I got auditioned by the in-house director and the musical director for Les Miserables. And what it was, they'd come up to Liverpool. I was touring with and Rebecca Storm was playing Eva Peron, and she was lovely, really good. And I was playing Shane, and they came up. So of course they saw me when they saw her as well. And then they came up to me and said, "Listen, do you fancy audition for the part of Jean Valjean?" And I said, "Are you kidding me? Yeah, okay." So we did the audition, and then I got whisked down to meet Cameron and the writers and all that type of stuff, and I got that role. And so I did that then for 3 years. And then I got shoved over to Phantom, because it's all by the same production company, because the guy that was playing the Phantom got taken ill, and he was a lovely guy, Martin Smith. And they needed a rush job to get somebody in. So I went in there after just a week's rehearsal and took over the Phantom. And it's like a knock-on story, because then I went back into Phantom in Canada. They suddenly decided I was going to go to Canada, and I was over there, and that's the favorite theatre, the Pantages Theatre. I love that theatre. It was massive, but it was as well, and I ended up becoming a Canadian citizen. I was there that long, playing that role. I know, and I did it in Vancouver. Then we put it on tour, and I went over to Vancouver and did it and so forth. But I love that role. I suppose that was the iconic role for me. And then I came back and I did it. I bounced back and forth, and I was doing it. I did it in Singapore. I did it in Hong Kong. I did it in London again. I did the England tour, first national tour. And all that type of stuff.
Gosh, you've been a busy bee.
I was very lucky.
And are there any roles that you haven't played that you would have liked to have played? Yes.
I always wanted to play the guy with the knife, Sweeney Todd. Oh, and a production company came to me and said, because they heard that I wanted to play Sweeney Todd, and because I knew I could do that role. I love the dramatic roles where you can be kind of horrible, I guess. I'm very good at being horrible. And so I wanted to do the Sweeney number. And it was in, what's the furthest Scottish city? Right at the top.
My geography is shocking.
And my memory is shocking. I remember them. Anyway, it was put on up there. And they came to me just in a kind of, they didn't think I'd accept it. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. I just wanted to do that role. And they lost their backers for putting it on, and it all fell to nothing. So I didn't do it in the end. But that's the role I would like to have done.
Yeah.
I suppose I love Fagin. I played Fagin, and I thought that was a great role because that was you could talk like that in it. See, you really got me, and so I enjoyed that. A man's got an heart, isn't he? Isn't he got an heart?
And I know everything's a bit on hold at the moment, but what is next for you?
Well, because I've gone into the gentle years, no longer do I go craving kind of huge roles and success and all that. So I do a concert, and I've just had 3 months were cancelled for America and Canada. That's because of the coronavirus.
Yeah.
So there's nothing immediate. I do a lot of. I sing because I love it. I'd sing if I wasn't doing anything. I'd sing anyway. Just if you're that way inclined, that's it.
Yeah.
I also do care homes. I'll go and do care homes because my mum ended up started going around doing care homes, and I enjoyed it. That's love. You don't do it for the money, that's a certainty. But you do it for the fun that you get with the people that kind of. Because music is a great transcender for all problems.
Yeah.
It's you get. I've been in places where the people that have got Alzheimer's or they've got no memory at all. But you start singing them a song and they'll join in with the words.
Yeah.
And that's just fantastic. To see them singing along, like I go along and do Delilah, right? And they'd all be going, Delilah.
I think music's one of the last things that people forget, I think, honestly. I think because it touches so many people, music, doesn't it, in ways that you can't imagine.
Yeah, it does. And if you sing to cows, they like it too. So it does cows, pigs, chickens, they all like music.
They do. I've got a weird one for you now. I've asked everybody a strange question. So Easter is fast approaching. What chocolate egg would you like from the Easter Bunny?
Ooh. Well, I'm a man for peanut butter.
Oh, family.
Now, if you had an Easter egg with peanut butter, I would eat that.
That'd be the one.
Yeah, love that.
Brilliant. And my last question for you is charity work. Do you do a lot of charity work? And if you do, what charities do you support?
Dreams and wishes. I'm about dreams and wishes. So that's my main charity now. But I've also done loads of charities for charity. I'll do it if I'm not working. I just enjoy it.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, well, thank you so much for talking to me. I've had a great time.
I didn't let you speak much, so I do apologize.
No. I love to listen. You've got some great stories. I could sit here all day and listen to all the stories of all the things that you've been doing, and you've been so successful and you've done so many amazing things. Thank you so much for coming on and speaking.
My pleasure. I hope it does some good. Some people enjoy it.
Yeah, that's the hope anyway. Well, you take care, and I hope the Easter Bunny does bring you a peanut butter Easter egg.
I'll tell you one thing before I go. Is that I've just turned that upstairs there into a little studio to broadcast. And people have requested a lot of songs, and so I'm going to do that tomorrow evening. It's around at 6 o'clock. It's a live broadcast from my house.
Brilliant. Well, I'll be watching.
I'm a technophobe. Dear God, I hope there's somebody that can advise me if it goes wrong.
Everyone will be on there telling you what to do, right? No doubt.
I hope so. Listen, you take care, Jem Bidlow.
You too. You take care too. It was great to talk to you.
And
Bye.
you. Bye now.
so many amazing guests still to come. If you haven't liked, you haven't subscribed, what are you doing? Only joking, but please like and subscribe. Share with your family and friends. We want to share a smile. Have a lovely week, and I'll see you on Saturday. Bye.